We're live. ALTBAYS Show brought to you by ALTBAYS.nz. This is show number 86. Yeah.
Oh, that was good timing.
Hey.
Yeah.
He's been practicing. The best way to support our platform is to subscribe to our YouTube channel. So if you're watching us right now on YouTube, there's a button at the bottom there, subscribe. Go for it. Do it. You support our growth. Okay? That's how it works. Easy. And now you can join our platform as a member, which means that you're going to give a little bit of money for us every month to make sure that we keep this beautiful thing alive. It starts with $5 and then we have different tiers there. Just have a look, the one that suits you. We offer things in exchange, obviously. So yeah, shout out, give us a hand. That would be cool. Or you can also give a one-off donation. There's a live chat on the left side if you're watching this on YouTube, and there's a little heart with a money sign there. You can give anything that you want, and you will help us to keep this thing going. It's been almost 6 months. It's been a fun journey, and we wanna do it more. Okay, if you're more of a listener, you can find these shows on your favorite podcast platform. After the show, we upload to all the main platforms, so you can share with your friends and tell your family to listen to these beautiful stories of a crazy man tonight. Good way to introduce you, eh? God damn it.
I thought it was going to be show number 100.
Oh, we'll get there. If you cannot put up with a 2-hour conversation because your attention span sucks, like mine, you can go to the ALTBAYS clips and listen to the breakdown of the interviews. We post short clips, and then, yeah, it's as fun as the big ones. I guarantee you that. Hi, Christine.
Hello. Hello.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I feel like it's been ages since I've been in here.
I know, right?
Yeah, like 2 weeks.
Which one? Do you remember the last one?
Yeah, that dude. What's his name?
That dude.
The porn star.
Oh, the porn star.
Yeah, I think that was my last show here.
That guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, good show. It was a good show. How's everything going in Matarangi?
Good, I guess. Yeah.
Good, I guess?
Yeah.
Yeah. Kids are happy?
Yeah, they had the day of school, little eggs.
Oh, they're definitely happy.
Yeah, snot noses don't go to school or aren't allowed to school. Yeah, probably get a phone call if I send them.
All right.
Yeah.
What about work? Still making some cocktails and...
Yeah, actually, we've got happy hour this Friday, roast night on Thursday.
Woo-wee!
It's good.
Nice. Good. Piper's Cafe.
Yeah,
on
Piper's
fire.
Cafe.
Nice. That's good. Tonight we have the pleasure, Christine,
yes,
to talk to someone who you know, right?
I do know, yeah.
Oh, that's good. That helps.
Yeah, how does help?
Hansi, my man.
Yeah, how's it going?
Welcome.
Welcome. How are you, bro?
Yeah, good, yeah. Bit nervous, but hey.
Oh, man, I'm nervous too. What do we do now?
I think you've been talking about coming on for like, what, 2 months now?
Yeah.
Yeah, like...
It's gone pretty quick, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, you did try and get me a few times, and it's been just a busy life.
Busy, man.
Yeah, kids and, I got 4 kids, so I'm pretty full on work and sports and
hard out.
so on, life.
But here we are.
We're here.
What about that big beard, man? What happened?
Well, rugby season's finished, so I've sort of shaved it off. Yeah, I was actually growing it for a mate's 40th there, the Viking theme and that, so grew it out and I thought, well, this is pretty good, and we weren't losing any games at the time, so I thought I might as well keep it here and just wait to the end. But now we got league season, I thought I'll keep it clean now and shave everything off. And
does it matter? Does it change much for the...
Makes them faster.
Scarier? I don't know.
But is there anything like with the I don't know.
Nah, not really.
Not really.
It gets a bit annoying when it's growing a bit, sort of thing, digging in quite itchy, so it's quite easy to sort of shave it off and keep it clean. You're not scratching it all the time or getting food stuck in there and sawdust or,
Tell me about it, man. Tell me about it.
So the maintenance isn't as bad as when you got to be...
Fair enough. I was worried because we got the picture for the poster. And we found a picture that you don't have the beard, and I was like, man, he's going to come here all like classic.
Massive beard.
Massive beard.
Well, we were in Rotorua, and when you sent me that, and we were just going to Cobco for dinner, and you're like, oh, send me a photo. I'm like, oh man, I got my face full of food, and so and I'm not very good with photos anyway. But
yeah, I'll send it over.
Yeah, no, I didn't even send anything.
We found it.
Facebook
stalkers, man.
It was actually my mate's wedding. I was the best man at my other mate's wedding.
We got a cool picture, man. Yeah.
I was like, it's not too bad. Look pretty scucks on there.
Nice, man. Thanks for coming, bro.
Yeah, cool.
Bro, you've been working with Forestry for how many years now?
Roughly 20 years. Yeah, give or take one.
So because I know you have cool stories. Some of them are funny, some of them are not that funny.
Yeah.
But before we start sharing some stories, man, just take us through a little bit of like what forestry is all about, just for the people at home and for me to wrap my head around it.
What forestry is all about?
How would you explain to a child? There you go. That's how they say it at school.
Forestry, well, it was just, cutting trees down for, most of our stuff go overseas, over to China and stuff like that, so for building houses and wiping your bum and all that sort of stuff, so it's a must-have.
Yeah.
We must have timber, we must have, have wood, plus, all the export and stuff, so we need import, export sort of stuff, and forestry's a big thing for New Zealand, and, that and milk and sort of dairy. So, yeah, it's a must-have.
Have you worked at any other sites except for the one
No,
here? Just here?
HUNDY PARR Forest is where I've started and where I still am.
Which forest, I'm sorry?
HUNDY PARR Forest, yeah.
How big, do you know?
Oh, huge.
Yeah.
Not as big as other ones down the line, but it is quite a decent sized forest, yeah. So it spans from here, Whitianga to Manaia, Coromandel, HUNDY PARR. So it's all in that hill range, yeah.
And usually what tree are we talking about?
Radiata. So they make a radiata, which is a fast growing pine tree. Takes about 25 years before you can harvest it, 25 to 30 years till we get to it, yeah.
Right. Before the show, you were explaining to me that there's a cycle involved. So
Yeah.
how does it work? Like going back, there was just a lot of bush. And then we know what happened, like people took a lot of it. And then there's a process of growing things back again and understanding that you have to wait to make it sustainable, right? So the best you can. So how does that cycle work?
Well, so we've just finished our first rotation, about 25 years. So my grandfather, he was the one that did a lot of scrub cutting and burning back in the day in Aotearoa around that HUNDY PARR area. So they'd go along with big scrub cutters and scrub, cut, smash all the scrub down and then burn it all off and then plant radiata. So when they planted the radiata, after 25 years, we can harvest it, this sort of thing. So it's like, and then after it's been harvested, it gets planted again for another 25 years. And this is the cycle. So there's a 3-cycle rotation in what I believe is in HUNDY PARR Forest. And at the moment, we just hit our second rotation. So after this will be another rotation.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And it's all multi land. So the contractors, the people who own the forest, which used to be Ernslaw, which is what's the name? Summit now, which is a Japanese. They brought it off Ernslaw, but Ernslaw did own it for 25 to 30 years prior to logging it. But so they've taken over and they lease it off the Maoris, so they pay part of the Maoris. They have been trying to give back to the Maoris and that, like for years, sort of thing. And it's sort of like they can't really afford to pay for the trees and go things, so they're just keeping on paying the lease. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So do you know if they do it like, because you said 3 cycles and then it's up for renewal, or if they stop because there's regeneration? Do you know how that part work?
Nah, I don't know too much about that part. But just what I've heard, that there'll be 3 cycles in there, and we're just in the second cycle now, so we've still got another 50 years of sort of.
Right.
So I don't know if they're going to replan after the second cycle, but after the third cycle, or what's going on. I'll probably be well past by then.
Right. And what was the first job that you learned?
Well, because I did go to school in Whangarei, so I did sawmill. I worked in the sawmill for a year and a half when I left school. I left school quite young. I think I was just turned 15, so I did about a year at TDC sawmill in Whangarei. So I was with timber, and I was like, I want to go back to, I want to go and check the forestry out, because when I was a young fellow, we had a place up Waikato Bay Farm, when my old man leased it for 10 years. It's like 2,000 acres, and that's just north of Coromandel. And I remember being about 6 or 7, and I was looking across the field, and I was like, there's a bulldozer up there. What are they doing up there? Dad's like, they're just logging all that hillside on the other side. I was like, sweet. So he took me over there, and we met the guys that was logging it, and they're having lunch at the time and stuff. And I was just like, wow, this is cool, man.
Cool, yeah.
So it's sort of like, and that's always stuck to me as a kid. So I've always sort of liked forestry in a way, sort of, and yeah.
So like when you do you usually go straight into the chopping trees, like when you're starting with it, or there's a process of like what part of the job are you going to do?
Yeah, well, because I'm a harvester, so we work with a hauler. So the tree fellas do come in and cut the trees down, and we follow behind them and pick them up with the ropes and that.
Yeah.
When I first started, I was just down the hill picking up the trees, so I didn't wasn't qualified to drop trees or anything like that. It's not until I got a little bit older, and sort of got a bit more skill. But so the tree fellas would come in, they'll drop it, and then we'll follow behind them and pick it up, and then everything goes up to where the hauler is landing and gets cut up into length, and then sent on the trucks and off to the mill. Yeah, so that's the cycle that we do in the harvesting part.
So you've been part of the whole process. You know the drill. You know.
What does a day's of work look like? Like, how many trees do you in a day, I guess?
It all depends on the layout of the land. Like, some things quite steep in that, and it's quite tricky, and you'll come up to little obstacles that actually slow your production down. And sometimes it'll be fast, So on a real fast day, we can pull up to about 300 stems, and then on a slow day, it might be only 100 sort of thing, or it could even be less if you got breakdowns and all that
trees,
sort of stuff.
300 trees, or you said
trees,
stems. Yeah.
Stems,
and that's
trees,
from beginning getting them cut, and then you moving them, getting them on the truck in a day.
Yeah.
Far out. That's still pretty like, even 100 sounds like a lot.
Oh,
it's
we want to target 50 trucks a week. That's good. We're averaging about 35 to 40 because the timber's quite small at the moment in the second rotation.
Yeah.
But
is there a reason behind that, or
it's
just conditions?
Because when they put the plants in, they're cuttings. So it might be a real poor batch, or a few years ago it might have been a big storm and blowing a lot of the cuttings over, so they sort of struggled to get back, or the thinnings hasn't been quite, which is another process of logging before you get there. They thin the trees so to let the big ones sort of grow and get a bit good size in them. So maybe that, there's a lot of things that come into factor that the trees haven't really taken off, and it can be quite patchy. So we'll get really good trees, and then we'll get real small trees. In the first rotation, it was like time we got to the trees, they were over 25, so they're like big trees, and they'd actually had a bit to grow. But now we're starting the second rotation. It's quite an early crop, so some of them are quite small and maybe need a little bit longer, sort of thing.
Right. And do you always have someone in the team that knows, like, oh, we're gonna do for the area, or like you guys, as you get there, you just deal with the situation? Now, I think that's what we're doing today. Well,
there's a lot of dealing with situations because you can look at a map and go, oh, well, this is going to happen, but it doesn't always go to plan, But we do have a forestry manager, and he's the one that will come up with the boss who contracts out to the forestry manager and say, look, this is what you're going to take, and this is how much tonnage is in here, roughly how much tonnage is in here, and how much you're going to get, and how long it's going to take you to pull it. So that's his job to plan before we get in there.
So you've probably been through quite a lot of whangapole bush, right? All of it, right?
Oh, pretty much. Yeah, I've pretty much walked all the ground.
What's the weirdest thing you've found in there? Have you found any weird shit? Like, because it's so deep and dense. Have you found any weird shit in there?
Yeah, I've found a few things. Yeah,
alive.
Like scary.
Well, we found the old dope patches. The old Coromedel's pretty well known for that. So you find the old ones that the old boys have gone in there and sort of gone a bit away or something. Mine shafts. We found bones.
Like what sort of bones? Not people. Like
mostly animal bones, and there has been a couple that
most of it was great. Most of it was a great answer.
Like 99% of it was animal.
Petrified wood, like wood that's been petrified. To find pieces of that. The old carry dams, because they used to have the big carry. They used to dam up the valleys and then drop all the carries and it flooded out and then blow it out to the Whangapole Hut where you live in Matarangi. Where it used to be underwater.
But 25 years ago.
But longer than that, probably over 100 years ago. So they used to dam it up and blow it. So we still see the remainings of that, the pillars, the old big carry pillars that they had for the dams and that sort of stuff. There's heaps of little stuff that's all I could think of at the top of my head, but we do come across a lot of stuff, carvings and stuff, where the old Marys used to do the carvings.
That's pretty cool.
They're mostly sites and that sort of come off, because when we go into our maps, we'll come up with sites like Kumara pits and all that sort of stuff.
And are you obviously not allowed in there?
So we protect it. So we'll put stumps and ribbons around it, and we'll just pull around it, or just leave it if it's going to disturb it. And then,
that's pretty cool.
And then they'll come in and check it out after, and then we'll tell them what sort of position, where it is, and all that sort of stuff.
Is it with the local tribe that they? You work with them
the iwi tribe.
Is it Ngāti Hei that's around there?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure which one it is, but they do come up and do their little checks. But most of everything's been found in the first rotation. We might find the odd one in the second rotation that sort of pops up that we missed on the first rotation, but really, most of it's all already documented and put down.
Yeah. That's
What
pretty
about
cool.
the wildlife? Do they disappear as soon as they know that there are humans coming, or you guys
possums.
get to see? Oh, is that the coolest thing you're going to see there?
Yeah. Oh, we get lizards and stuff like that. There is a few little frogs and that we sort of got to look out for, you know, and stuff in these sort of danger. But like I said, most of the stuff is already monitored and where they're living and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So we sort of know what's going to happen when we get into the
Don't go
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
they'll sort of
Well, that last guy, the one that we were talking to about possums, he said hit them.
yeah. Yeah, they do a lot
If
of
you
damage
see
to
them in the
possums.
bush.
Yeah.
He did say
Roll
that.
them over.
I've killed a few possums in my
Yeah.
day. Jumped on top of them and moved them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Try and knock them down a bit because they're a pest. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. What are the tricky parts of the job, the dangerous ones that you always have to? Well, I guess it's one of those jobs that you have to watch your back and what you're doing at all times.
All times,
But
yeah.
what parts of the job requires more attention?
I say the whole lot. The whole lot of every part of the job. If you're not switched on, you're gonna have an accident. Even if you are switched on, you can still have an accident. It's the most dangerous job in the world. So it's sort of, you know, like
Wow.
there's always something around the corner that could happen, and it's always the water factor, you know, sort of thing. So
Yeah.
you're always thinking ahead and planning ahead. So it's not for light.
You had a few experiences, right, yourself?
Yep.
You've seen a lot, and we're going to talk about some things that you've seen.
Yeah.
But you went through some stuff, eh?
Yes, I had an accident 12 years ago, probably from this day, 12 years ago, after my
Wow.
second son was born. Yeah, we got hooked up. Well, where do I start?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Start from the start because I might not know all the words. So
Yeah.
if you don't mind, just
Yeah. So it was just like a normal day, and we were just up the back of HUNDY PARR, up behind the quarry there, and we had a few guys missing at work. So I was breaking out at the time. I wasn't in the machine, and I thought, oh well, I've done it before. I've gone down and broken out.
Sorry, when you say some guys missing at work, does it mean like that because you guys go to different directions and then they just
Or they
do
were
it?
in at work today.
They weren't at work here. So we
Okay.
usually got three people down
sorry.
the hill with me.
Cool.
If I'm
Got it.
breaking out, I've usually got a couple of guys
Yep.
or another guy with me.
Yep.
So this day we didn't have anyone, so it was just me, lone soldier. So I've done it for years, you know, I've done it all before. Like all the stuff that I've done time after time after
Yeah.
time. So it's not new, you know. So I went went out to the back line, which is where you set your ropes up from, because you got to go through the valley with your ropes and set it all up and pull each line, sort of thing. So I went up there and set all that up, and it was probably about 400 meters out from the hauler, and I was up on top of the hill, and it takes a little while to set the next line up. So I'd sort of set it up, and then I told them,
So when you say the line,
Yeah.
is it like do you attach to
Nah, so the hauler runs big drums. It's like a big crane. It's got cables, and each of those cables we call the line change.
Yeah.
because they're just lines. Yeah,
Got it.
So I'd set it up for the next line shift over top of the wood that we pick up,
Yeah.
and I set all that up. And I said to the hauler operator at the time, I said, look, I've just set it up, mate. I'm going to be about 10 minutes before I can walk up to the front to get a start, because you always start from the front and work your way to the back.
Yeah.
So you're not getting logs in the way. So I said, just wait 5-10 minutes. So I walked down there, and I was actually blind behind the skid. The hauler sits up above me, and I was about 10 meters below it, so he couldn't quite see me. It's all radio contact. So I got up there and told him, oh, yep, that's, you know, first he sent the rigging out, which is what we hooked the logs up. And I said, well, just send it forward. I can sort of see. I was about 400 meters out. I can see from here. I'll get the stop. So I stopped it there, and I said, wait 10 minutes. I'll get up to the front. Got up to the front, tangled it, all my strops and that, and seen the log I was going to hook up. I was about 3 meters away from it.
Yeah.
I said, jumped on the radio. I said, because he'd been waiting a while at this time. I said, I'm a bit short. Just go head on main, which is pull the ropes forward towards the hauler, and then slack your tail so I can grab this log. And then it didn't go through for a bit. I thought he might have fallen asleep or something by the time he was waiting for me. And I was like, oh, well, it's not working. So I said it again, just head on main, slack your tail. And then I heard the machine rev up. I was like, oh, that's not right. And I was about a metre away from my log. I said, oh, that doesn't sound right. Next minute, the strop whipped up real fast. He put it in gear, and it sort of tight lined. The whole rigging went right up in the air real quick. So I was holding onto the strop, hooked onto my glove, and I'm swinging along with the strop. And by the time I stopped sort of swinging, I was about 10 metres in the air, and I was just popping up over the edge where he could have eye contact with me. And he seen me hanging there, and he sort of panicked a little bit and gave it a few more revs. And before I knew it, I was another 10 metres high. So I was looking above the hauler.
Oh, shit.
And I couldn't hold on anymore because it tight line and shock loaded out of my hand. And I slipped, and I just fell to the ground. I fell about 20 metres, yeah. Landed on a bit of a slope. So when I hit the ground,
how many times did you
I had three impacts because it was quite a big slope. So when I come down, I blew both my ankles out, and then I second hit contact. I bounced to hit my chest, cracked my sternum, and the third one was the log I was going to hook up. I hit it with my face and cracked my skull, popped my eye out, and then scorpion and broke my lower vertebra, my spine, and then just collapsed on the ground. And I remember I could hear noises and that behind me, and first I tried to get up and then looked at my feet, and I was like, oh, they were facing up towards me. I was like, yeah, that's not right. So I just dropped on the ground, and I was coughing up blood and all sorts of stuff. Yeah, and the Whanga Parr fire service and that turned up, and a few of the workers run down, and you're like, oh, you don't look good, bro. It's like, no, not good.
Don't feel good either.
So they got the helicopter in, and then helicoptered me out, and I took off to Auckland Hospital, and then had an operation there, and then we went to Middlemore and had plastic surgery in my face. So
Oh man!
they had to put 3 titanium screws in my ankle and put it all back together, and then I cracked my skull across here when I popped my eyeball out, shattered all my cheekbone. They had to pull all my cheekbone back up and put 2 screws in the face and all that sort of stuff.
Fuck, man.
But that was like 12 years ago, so I'm sort of...
What was the recovery time like for you?
Still recovering.
Yeah.
No, it was very long. I think ACC in New Zealand's pretty bad, so I was sort of like fighting with ACC at about 3-4 months down the track, and I thought, oh, stuff this, I'll go back to work, So I was meant to be off for 2 years, but then I did about 6 months and went straight back to forestry again.
Yeah.
What part of the body was the one that gave you more trouble? The feet?
At the time, I was on my back. I was getting my back was sort of getting, I was sort of like get cramping my spine and stuff like that, and it was hard to like lift stuff and all that. And then and my ankles would swell up. They still swell up today, and walking down steep hills and that sort of wasn't really that good for me anymore. So I sort of gave up breaking out and went into the hauler operating the machine, and that's why I got the big puku.
Wow. So that was the first accident. That was the first thing that happened
In the forestry?
Yeah.
In the forestry. Yeah, I had an accident just out of the forestry. I was about 17 at the time, and we had a few drinks down Whanga Parr and that with a few workmates, and that 'cause it was a mate's birthday, and then one of the drivers of the van that we picked up flipped the van on its side and ripped all my shoulder open and put a big increase and broke my collarbone and all that sort of stuff, and chainsaws and that flying all over us. Jumped out of the van, went down to the ocean and pulled it all out, pulled all the glass and tar out of my arm, and then we went straight to hospital.
We might as well go through all the shit, so at least we have a clip with all the chaos in your life.
Oh, mate, it's heaps.
and then after that, so after the one in the forestry, got back to work.
Yep.
Did anything happen after that in your other fall?
Not on myself, no. But there's been a few accidents through the over the period of me being in the hauler. Yeah.
So when you're in the hauler, do you feel like you have more control of the situation than the guys who are on the ground, or it's a division of responsibilities? And
it's sort of like we work together.
Yeah.
So when you're in the hauler, you got the people on the ground that's hooking the logs up there, your eyes and your ears. So I can sort of get a visual of what's going on if I can't see. Sort of get a visual of what's going on down the hill by them communicating with me. So they would tell me, oh, there's a big log there, big stump, and it's the same. It's sort of like driving logs up to the skid sort of thing. I've got to know where every obstacle is, and that's their job. So they'll tell me, oh, there's a steep part there, there's a stump there, or why isn't it coming? I'm getting stuck, and they'll tell me what's going on sort of thing, and tail back and pull the logs back and give it another go. It's all just communication with the people down the hill. Yeah.
Wow. And then when you were operating, did you get to see any other things that it was not that pleasant, that you had to help, or you had to...
Well, yeah, I had a couple of good mates with me. So one of my real good mates, his son worked for me for a while, and had another, because I know quite a lot of people, Coromandel, so most of the people that I've known around here is through forestry, working here. We've been through so many workers over the years, locals and that. So I knew both of them quite well, and I was operating a machine one day and down the back line. And I couldn't see them, so listen to them and they tell me what's going on and that. And then one of them did the haul away toot. It was a little tooter that signals to me to haul the logs in. So I started hauling the logs, and we got 2 forms of communication. So we've got a tooter and we've got a radio. So the radio is like a horn. The tooter's a horn, and the radio's talking. Yep. So I heard the tooter go, and then I could hear a faint hold it there, like hold it there means stop everything. And then I was like, oh, you know, it's unusual. And I was trying to talk to him, hey guys, you right? What's going on? What's going on? I didn't hear anything for a while. I was thinking, oh, well, that's not right, you know. And I said a couple of times, and a couple of times the radio had played up through the day, so I thought maybe their radio's died, you know, and they can't get a hold of me.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I hear the big long toot, which just means emergency, something's happened. So straight away I was, boom, out of my machine, running off down the hill to see what was going on. And when I got down there, I was seen that a couple of the workers had been hit by the log. So, yeah. So it was a pretty sight.
And I guess it comes quite fast, right?
Yeah. Well, so because we all train first aid, so we know what's going to happen. You know what to do when that sort of stuff happens, and so that sort of just I jumped straight into that. You know, went down and assist what was going on and that, and try to see who was worst and stuff like that. And the first one I got to was a real good close mate of mine, and I said, bro, you know, you're good in that. He goes, yeah, man, like ripped half his arm open and all his face was all smashed up and stuff like that. And I thought he was the worst one. I was like, oh, bro, you know, get up here, and did all my first aid and stuff. And then I said, where's the other bro? And he had been baseball battered further on up the hill. So I thought, oh shit, I better get up to him. So I run it to him, and you go, you're all right, bro? And he looked all fine. He had a couple of scratches, but he looked all fine.
Yeah.
But he was the worst one. So what happened when the log hit him, it broke all his pelvis and ruptured his kidney and stuff inside. But I couldn't tell that because it's all internal, you know what I mean? So I went, oh, you'll be right, bro, to put you in recovery position. I'll just go down and see the bro, which I thought was the worst. So I went down there and it's like wrapped him up, did my first aid, got his hand wrapped up, stopped the bleeding, all that sort of stuff. And by then we had guys up in the skid calling the helicopters in. So we had 2 Westpac helicopters coming for this job. So, yeah, I got up on the skid and just made sure the ambulance and that where they were going, and organised where the helicopters and going and that, and then jumped on the radio because we had another guy down the hill sort of telling us what was going on. Yeah, all this was happening real fast, you know, sort of thing. And then the guy that got really damaged, the one that I sort of didn't really pay attention to, who had the kidney and all, they actually had to bring blood in and give him blood down the hill and stuff like that. And he was down there for quite a while before they could helicopter him out. Yeah. And he was so yeah, all that happened. They all went to hospital and that, and they're all good now. Oh, good. You know, like you know, sort of big long recovery for a couple of them, one of them, but yeah, they're all good now. And it's sort of I went and seen them in hospital and stuff like that. I was like, you know, it's sort of like it's just a sort of a freak accident which happens in forestry. You know, something that like they do time and time again. Yeah. And then all of a sudden it's just that one day when they just didn't calculate what had happened and bang. Because we deal with tonnage. You know, like 12 ton, 6 ton trees, you know, so getting hit by one of them, which I've been hit by a couple of them before in the past, you know, it hurts. Yeah.
so that's an average, like six tons.
Yeah, the one that hit them was probably about, might have been about 7 or 8 ton, and it sort of dug in and spun around like a baseball bat, and just they weren't out the tree in half length because you're meant to be 1.5 tree lengths away from your drag, and they sort of come up to a steep bank and they didn't quite get that extra further step out, and the log they had hooked up was buried underneath the slash, so when it tried to pull away it did a big swing, and then they were trying to run out of the way and it just baseball batted them, whacked them.
Wow.
That's second aid that you have to see the thing in front of you.
Yeah,
it happens real quick.
What's the feeling, because you have children? How many?
4 boys.
4 boys. And then I guess healing and bouncing back is a mission, but when you have the family, the boys around, like things.
Well, that's it. My second child that I had, he was premature, was 7 weeks. So just before my big accident, he was you know, in hospital. Sort of partner at the time was in the hospital looking after him, so I was sort of manning the ship. I had my oldest one at home, and I was sort of working in that as well and trying to organise that. So like when my accident happened, he had just come out of hospital sort of thing, and then he had meningitis and stopped breathing, and he ended up going back to hospital, and I had to discharge myself quite early out of hospital to look after my oldest one. So it was sort of like that time of my life, it was like, wow, man, this is full on sort of thing. But it was just, but it was mostly the kids that got me through it all. You know, I was like, well, I couldn't lie down for too long. I had to get up there and, you know, look after the kids and sort of get life going, even though I was crippled at the time. You know, they sort of, and that sort of gave me the drive to get up and carry on, you know, sort of thing. Yeah. Because there was a stage when I had my accident, and because I had quite a bit internal bleeding in my head and stuff like that, and I sort of was dozing out, little bit, and it was actually my son popping up in my head going, yeah, come on, Dad,
Yeah.
I'm here, you know, you can't die on us yet, like this sort of thing. So sort of coughing up blood and kicked me back alive again a few times and carried on, yeah.
Do you still have any kind of support from what happened? Like, or not?
ACC, no.
No, it didn't happen.
No.
Right.
What's it like playing sport with injuries? Like, can you feel it? Like when they
yeah.
So
because
because
obviously they'll probably aim for you sometimes, wouldn't they?
and we haven't mentioned yet, but like you big into like rugby league. So just tell us a little bit that, and then you can do the segue to practicing sports. So that's your thing, right? You're a rugby player, league player.
Yeah. I do it for the kids, Like my boys are all into their league and stuff, and I coach them as well, sort of under 12s. I have been for the last few years. My lovely partner, Jamie, my queen, got me into
Jen.
league. But her family's really involved with it. And I didn't really play league. I always played rugby sort of thing. And I was like, I'll give it a go. And I actually loved it, you know. And but I also play rugby as well for Mercury Bay and that as well. And I love the kids on the sideline, you know. My boys watching me play and stuff like that gives me a bit of a, even though my body's pretty stuffed, I've got to have everything strapped up. My ankle swells up and, you know, shoulders strapped, dislocate my shoulders all the time and all that. But it's sort of, I enjoy it. I love it, you know, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I sort of just soldier on. I sort of bite the bullet and harden up.
Yeah, because I was thinking the same, you know, like so the passion is definitely bigger than the pain.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've learned to live with the pain for the last 12 years. So it's sort of like, you know, sort of, if you know, I might have even jump on for 10, 15 minutes sort of thing, but it's that, you know, I've sort of get in there and give it a go, you know, sort of, but I'll strap it up, she'll be right. The attitude.
Yeah, she'll be right.
Is the running the part that you feel the most, or is the impact?
Oh, it's just like, yeah, if I sort of like, I don't even have to run that far, but I've hit my ankle on a different angle sort of thing, or swell up, you know, and I can work with it sort of thing. It sort of goes down a little bit. I'm used to swelling up in that quarter, but yeah, I'll just strap it up and just keep going, and so like your adrenaline's pumping and that, you don't really lick your wounds till Sunday when the missus has to listen to you whining on the couch. And then by the time Tuesday and that comes around, training, all that sort of stuff, you're sort of healed up enough to carry on. Some weeks I might have to miss a game or something, will be on for only 10 minutes because I'm sort of struggling with a bit of old injuries, so swelling's not coming down or something, you know, but I'll give them all, and that's what I mean. It's for the kids, you know, the kids love it, you know. When I started having kids when they were a bit younger, I stopped playing sport because I did play quite a bit when I was younger, and then I was like, I've got kids, you know, I've got priorities, other things to do. I sort of can't really afford to hurt myself and go to work. I need to keep my job sort of thing. So I sort of gave up sport. And then the last 5 years, I thought, stuff it, you know, I'll get back into it, and started playing rugby and back into league. And so, yeah, and the kids love it.
How is rugby at the moment in New Zealand? What team do you support?
In rugby?
Yeah.
Oh, the All Blacks.
Oh, but you guys have the regional ones, right? Do you go for the Waikato one?
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah.
Chiefs all the way.
Chiefs. All the way. How are the Chiefs at the moment? How is the competitive?
They're the same as every year. They sort of get up there and get down, sort of thing.
Do you follow it, Christine? Do you guys
No,
does the
not
family
really.
engage with
No.
rugby and?
Well, I've been mostly because I've been getting into my league quite a bit since, you know, I've started playing it and stuff like that. Mostly put rugby watching on the back burner and watch every game of league. If
He's not lying.
Thursday,
We
Friday.
go to like family dinners and he's on the couch watching this league, telling us to shush.
Because you're coaching, right? Now you train the kids. How is that feeling of like being there and
Oh, it's awesome, eh? It's just, you know, the kids, you know, all their eyes light up and stuff like that, and they learn a new thing,
And
or they
his
get a
babies
try.
are talented too.
Yeah.
They're amazing at sport.
And they always challenge each other. You know what the boys are like. One's got to be better than the other.
Yeah.
so do you remember the coaches you had and that helps you to be the coach you want to be, or like or they hunt you?
I remember
How is
all my
that vibe?
coaches.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. I was always also like my boys. I always thought I was a star. I had a nickname when I was younger at school, and it was called Slippery.
Yes, it's a good segue to nicknames.
The nicknames. Here we go. So Hunty clearly not your name, not the one that mom chose.
No. My real name's Philip. Hundy's a name that I got when I was starting the forestry. There's a few stories how I got it, but I think it was the second day I was there, and I was just running into the drags and, you know, just trying to be the man, trying to prove myself that I'm a good worker sort of thing. So I was going to Hundy. 100 mile an hour. But it wasn't 100 kg back then, so they couldn't give me it for that. But and I've sort of name sort of stuck in the forestry, so I always introduced myself as Hundy.
Hundy, is it a job that pays well? Because nowadays we talk so much about the tradies, you know, like opportunities out there. How do you see the market for workers?
It is paid well. It is paid well. To start with, because everything's got to be ticketed now, so you got to have a ticket for that, you got to have a ticket for that, you got to have a ticket for that, you know. So you sort of got to, you know, build yourself up there to get a good pay,
Right.
you know, what you're worth and that. But the industries, because we're sort of turning to machine operating. So like we're sort of cutting out more the cross cuttings, and we've got cross cutters which cut the trees down. We've got machines that will go down in harvesters, and they got big ropes that off another machine that tethers them down the hill to cut trees down, so it cuts the dangerous, trying to cut the danger side out of it. I've got a grapple. I've got a machine now with a carriage of a grapple on it with a camera, so I can lower it down and pick the logs up myself and drag them in, so we can try and, not all the time, because there's some steep country you have to have people in there hooking up and stuff like that, but it is hard to get workers. Like, it's hard to, they're not built like they used to be, sort of thing. You know, they can get the same amount of money sitting on their bum on the dole than what they can sort of in the bush in some areas, you know, sort of thing. And they actually got to prove themselves before they can get more, you know, get more tickets and that, and sort of get more money. So it is, the industry and that sort of side of thing has changed around a bit to sort of be more mechanical. So it's like, so that pops your pay up a little bit, because you've got to be mechanical minded, and you sort of got to be running machines like that.
Do you feel like the numbers of workers are going to drop because of the new machinery, or you still going to need a good amount of workers to operate those machines and to do all the parts of the job? Because like the world it's getting into that vibe, right? Like we're detaching, we're letting go of the manual, you know, like hands-on thing, but we still need people to operate those things.
Exactly. That's it. You need people to operate it. So it's more changing to training people to operate the machine, but it is good to have that ground base first, you know, sort of know what the industry's doing and how to do that sort of job before you can jump in a machine and do that job. So it's sort of like a lot of training and that's what I mean. It's like, it's hard to, we went through so many workers growing up, when I was growing up in the forestry, you know, like in and out, because they just weren't cutting the mustard, you know, all their dangers for themselves, or, you know, always had, you know, problems and all that sort of stuff like that. And it's sort of, because the pay's not that great, it sort of doesn't really entice them to stay longer, you know, to stick it out.
Because by what you're telling us, man, it's full on, you know, like there's a big risk involved there, you know. A lot of jobs have risks, obviously,
but not 7 tons worth of risk.
7 tons coming after you, it's a big one.
That many deaths and that's happened in the forestry, you know. And like, I had a real good mate that was close to us, and when I was younger, I was sort of like idolised him a little bit, because he was been breaking out for a little bit longer and that, and I was sort of like, I want to be like him, you know. He's a mean breaker outer, and one day he was at work, and we used to have a shotgun carriage. It was like a 3-ton carriage that sits on the ropes that you got to lower down to hook the logs up and sort of lift it up. With another system that we use, and one of the skyline, I can't remember the full story, but one of the skyline brakes had malfunctioned, and he was underneath it, and it smacked him on the head. So it killed him. He actually died down the hill, and then they got him up, and they got him back alive again, and he died on the way to hospital, and they got him back alive again, and then then they got him back alive, and then a few months later he come back to work and started working down the hill again, and he's I think he worked about another 3 or 4 years with us, and then he shot off up north to another crew and that, and then so this was a few years ago, I was talking to a mate, and he said, one of the bros I'm talking about just passed away, and I'm like, what happened? And he goes, he was setting up one of those line changes I was talking about earlier, and he was clearing out one of the logs, and it spun around and baseball batted him, and one of the branches and that impaled him inside him. Jeez. And he got taken off to hospital. He was still alive, got taken off to hospital and that, and they operated on him, and then he got an infection in his side, and he died in hospital.
Oh man,
pretty sad. But that's one of many, you know, of people that's passed away. Because we'd hear about them all the time, all around the country and that. And there was two that actually I'll still remember to this day that I heard. There's this one guy, and he does the same job that I do, operating the hauler and stuff. And when you're packing the hauler down, you're meant to have a couple of guys up on the skid just giving you a hand, but also watching what's going on. Well, this day, this guy thought, I'll just pack it up myself. But early on that morning, he just had a big argument with the boss and said, like, this is my last day, blah, 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 sort of thing, and as we all do, get shitty now and then, sort of how to go. So anyway, he was packing the hauler up by himself, and he was guiding the Skyline drum on, which is meant to have someone else guiding it so you can watch it, but he put it into drive and let it free spool on itself, and he went out with his hand and he was guiding it on the drum to make it nice and neat, to wind the rope right in. And I'm talking about 800 metres of Skyline rope, which is, like 55 tonne braking capacity. It's quite thick stuff,
Yeah.
And then what happened is his glove had got caught in the rope and pulled him into the drum. So the whole rope coiled up around him and stuck him on the drum, pulled up through the pole and that, and then anyway, that's going around in circles. The foreman come up and said, where the hell's he gone? Oh, he's walked off the site and he hasn't even finished his job. So they turned the machine off and that, and I turned the drum off, stopped the drum from spinning, then went to move the machine and said, oh shit, I've blown oil everywhere. Looked down, it wasn't oil, it was all blood. So I'd minced them up in the drum. And they pulled it all out. There's just chunks of them left, wasn't much of them left. And that sort of stuff, doing the job I'm doing at the moment, the hauler's like, goes through your head like, that could be me, sort of thing. So
when accidents like that happen, do you have to, like, I don't know, come back in all together and do like a health and safety check, or like a mental wellness check for everyone?
Yeah, they all go through that stuff. Yeah, all that.
Because far out.
Yeah, there's so OSH comes in and does a big investigation and stuff like that. Yeah. But the most touching one I had with the accident that I had, like the one that sort of like dropped me and thought about Forestry was there was another hauler operator and his son working together. So his son was breaking out. And his dad was in the hauler, and he just, because we got a bulldozer on the back line. If you can't do it on manual line change on stumps, you just move the bully, and it's got blocks on it as well. So the son had moved the bully for the next line and couldn't quite see if he was in the right spot. So he stood up on top of the blade of the bulldozer and said to his dad, "Yep, give it a tight line, lift the ropes up. I'll just have a look from up here." So when he was standing up on the bully, his dad tight lined it, and the bully moved forward. So he fell in front of the blade, and the bully went over top of him, and it just collapsed on his torso, so crushed him right down to his torso. He was still alive, so they got everyone, like they're like, "Oh look, as soon as we take the bully off you, you're gonna die," sort of thing. So they had to get his whole family in to say goodbye, and his father,
man.
So to say goodbye to him as they took the bulldozer off from there, and he died on site. So,
jeez.
And there's many more stories, but I won't carry on.
That's heavy, man. But like, and the thing that you mentioned before, like, if you guys would take time after that, if there's someone who comes and have a chat,
Counseling.
or it's something that
you go through all that sort of stuff.
Gotta go through that thing, eh?
Yeah. Wow. We are like a tight family. We all look after each other, talk to each other. If we've got problems and stuff like that, we'll send them home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, we can't have that. It's just, it's not only that we're looking out for them and their well-being, we've got to look after ourselves as well. Because if you've got someone at work that's got their mind on the job somewhere else, that's when accidents happen.
Yeah.
And it's not like, I've got a graze on my arm, so he dropped the log on me, he's dead, so.
Yeah.
So it's like everything sort of.
Man, you know what? It's like while you were saying all these things, I was just thinking here how, because a lot of people will give shit to a lot of jobs that are essential, like, so I understand that sometimes I'm not saying specifically forestry or whatever, but like there are always environmental issues, like that whoever is in charge of the job is the one who has to respond. But like people forget that there's the front line.
Yeah.
That there's the bro, that there's the neighbor, that there's the guy who takes the kids to school, like, and
exactly. Yeah, everyone's too worried about
us.
the name that's on the side of the truck or the name that's on the forestry, but
it's the man doing the hard yards.
Exactly.
Is it mainly? Is it for men, you would say, or like sometimes you see women?
Oh no, the women can do just as good a job as us, eh? Like the Aotearoa, I think they got an all women's crew down there, eh? And we've had the odd one that's come up and did a bit of QC and stuff, and they're just as good on the chainsaw as a man is too.
Fantastic. Cool.
Yeah, that's some a little bit better.
I'm not surprised. Yeah. Line it up very nicely,
Yeah, it's all neat and tidy.
Yeah, the girlfriends, they like, you go to work, they knowing there's a girl there, but if they see them, they're like, oh well, it's not too bad.
Yeah,
Especially our Aotearoa.
No, but that's cool, man. Thanks for sharing. Like they're heavy stories, but again, like we gotta talk about these things, you know, because we gotta acknowledge the people working, as you said, like the paper that we need, you know, like and we take it for granted, man. Hey, you got the paper. Oh fuck it, printed the wrong one. Oh fuck, it doesn't matter. Oh, like toilet paper doesn't give out. Wow, hey, we forget that there's a lot of work.
There's a lot of links in the chain.
A lot of language. Wow. Did you make sense of all of that from the beginning when you started? Like, did you make sense of how big and how important that was?
Nah.
You're just chopping trees, man.
Just mahi.
I was like, can you get my pay?
Yeah, where is it?
$5.50 an hour or something. It might have been a bit $7.50, but something like that when you first started. Yeah.
Far out.
So now more like for both of you guys. So that was like you said maybe 20 years ago that you started. Like how do you see work conditions in the country and pays and like a little bit of like housing as well? Because of course you guys are, you know, I won't say at the lowest point, but like definitely not making millions, you know, every year. So like how can you see this evolution of work conditions in the country itself?
It is hard. Like it's like well, everyone's struggling at the moment, with everything, you know. And, you know, you can only sort of keep bread and butter in your sort of table, but
I feel like everyone's more focused on job stability, right? Making sure that they're
got
like
a paycheck coming in.
You know, after having things like lockdown, a lot of people lost their jobs because I don't know, they just couldn't carry on. Like forestry is really important, so they were waiting for you guys to get back.
Well, we did for that first 4 weeks, but then we just carried on because we're actually isolated. We're in there, you know, and that's the best thing about forestry. You're out in the bush, you're out, you know, you're away from humans. It's like it's awesome. You're your own boss, sort of thing. And because we're in machines, we're pretty much isolated as well, sort of thing. Apart from the boys down the hill, but they sort of stick together and do their own thing as well. So it sort of cuts the numbers down of getting COVID or anything like that sort of thing, being around people. So it's sort of all forestry sort of kept going after that 4 week lockdown sort of thing.
Was it like a massive backlog when you went back? Like, I don't know if there's
the ports, so like the ports and that would take all our timber away, you know, the boats and that, so there was a bit of a backlog and that. We sort of coped with it, you know, like stacking up on the skid and trying to get out loads when we could, sort of thing, and then just stockpiling and all that sort of stuff. And when we was freed up, we could sort of get it. So, but you know, like I said, everyone was sort of going through something, so we'll sort of just working with the system, sort of thing.
Do you get involved in any other area of like planting or growing things?
Horticulture, horticulture and thinnings is another. You know, other guys come in and do that sort of stuff. We know who they are. They've been in the forestry for a while. The ones, especially the ones around here. But no, we don't get involved in planting and stuff like that. Not our crew. No, we're harvesters. So we just harvest a log and smash, crash, and bash.
Man, that was a heavy chunk. But we're gonna go back there. Let's just shift a little bit for the rugby, man, so we can cool down. Man,
what do you think about the World Cup this year, man? It's all black.
They're slowly pulling their finger out of their ass, aren't they? Hey, got South Africa in the end, but it was a bit rough to watch. Well, for the league, I'm a Broncos fan. I do support the Warriors, you know, I'm Kiwi in that, but I'm a Broncos fan, and the boys got the wooden spoon the other year, so I'm actually glad that they're still in the top 8, and hopefully they hold that position and take it out. But
Hanji, you said that you used to play union and then you changed for league.
Yeah.
What is the difference between the union and league? Like, if you would compare them, because I know one is a little bit slower than the other one, but for someone who plays, actually,
it is quite hard to change your play way. Like it's like, you know, in rugby and that you got to feed the ball back and that, you know, and if you tackle someone, you got to get off them, you know, and league's different. When you tackle someone, you sort of got to work them and wait to them to tell you to move, sort of thing, so your boys get back that extra 10 metres to do another hit up again. So I reckon, league, cardio, and a lot of, you know, it's a simple game to play, but in your body side of things, it's hard work, you know. I'm not saying rugby's not hard work, it's just as bad, but yeah, it's sort of like two different mind plays, you know. It's like, you know, like rugby is, you know, tackling and that, you sort of one off, you sort of got to run it, you know, sort of turn the ball around, try and get the ball around, and that there's so much cluster in rugby sort of thing, and then the league's sort of more cleaner, you know, so like you tackle, you make your thing, you make your ground, do your 5, you know, and then back in the end it's their turn, you sort of thing. So it's sort of like a tic-tac-toe sort of thing in league, but it's but it is quite hard to sort of switch from rugby to league sort of thing, but once you've done it for a few years, you sort of got the mindset to do that, you know, switching.
Which ones are more popular?
Well, rugby's always dominant in New Zealand.
To.
You know, Aussie's a league sort of thing. They've got so many teams. We only got the Warriors. So always rugby is always going to be dominant.
I saw that actually the history of rugby is not that long, that became like a World Cup and you know, like it's pretty new, Do you remember all this process when it became something serious? Because I know in New Zealand was always serious, but not overseas, right?
Nah, I think it was actually can't really not that old.
So is the Rugby World Cup still happening? Is that right? Are we like what, semi-finals, or are we not even there yet? Where are we at?
Know. Do you guys know?
No, neither. I don't follow it. I just know that we beat South Africa. Hey, that's about it.
I like playing the sport more than
watching
it. But I do watch it.
I'll follow
like
it
I said,
later.
I watch league a lot more than rugby sort of thing.
I feel like that's like, you know, for the same where you guys are, that's football. Rugby here is football, right?
Yeah. Well, that's how rugby started, wasn't it? They picked up a soccer ball and ran with it.
Right. There you go.
Well, that's what my old coach used to say. Anyway. I don't know if it's true or not, but it sounds good.
Did you study here? Did you study did you go to school around
here? So, well, when I was young, my mum and dad were married, of course, and they split up when I was about 3. So my mum's family's from up Whangarei up north, and my dad's family's from here. So the thing, so we were back and forth. I went to Whangarei Intermediate, Raumanga Primary, Whangarei Intermediate, and Whangarei Boys, and that's where I worked at TDC Sawmill before I come down here into the forestry when I was about 16. Yeah, my dad's always been down here, lived down here, but we're always back and forth growing up sort of thing through custody and that sort of carry on being a young fella. But I didn't go to school here. No.
Are there specific places for forestry around the country, or more?
All over New Zealand.
All over,
you know, there's forestry everywhere, Masterton, you know, all up north and here, and then in South Island there's forestry down there, you know, and just everywhere.
Have you been overseas, Hanji? Have you traveled? Yeah,
done a bit of Australia and stuff like that. Yeah.
How is life in Australia compared to New Zealand? What did you find?
That's nice. I suppose my mother lives up in Darwin. You know, I haven't been up there yet. She's been there for a while now, but I haven't been up there. It's too hot for me. But I know we've been over Perth and Sydney and stuff like that, you know, and it's like, that's nice, but this is home,
New Zealand.
Don't about living there.
New Zealand.
But,
you can't see yourself moving away from Polar?
Oh,
nah.
You do some fishing, you do some diving,
fishing, riding, do everything. I wish I could do more, but it's quite busy with kids in there. Time you've done rugby, and then you've done, you know, league, and then you know, sort of rolls around. And work. And before you know it, it's already Christmas again. So catch up with family and drinking again, and then do it all over again.
we were just saying, because he said, I got 4 boys. I'm like, that must be a bit cheaper than 4 girls. And he was like, but the boys eat a lot, man.
Well, grocery bill could be up to $7,000 to $1,000 a week. You know, so it's like, it's not bloody cheap.
Nah, not at all.
Plus, we've got to travel from Whangaparo into town and gas and all that sort of stuff as well. You know. Right. Yeah, so sort of
busy.
Well, it's pretty hard because I've got a few toys. I've got my road bikes. I've done a bit of racing and stuff like that, and a few dirt bikes, but haven't done it for years.
Oh,
just
so
sits in my storage shed.
Oh, cool. When did that start? When the passion for racing?
when I was young, ever since I was 5, I had my first motorbike and that, and then growing up and riding and that, and done a few track days and stuff growing up. Was, when I've got time and taking the kids on bikes and did a bit of riding, did the loop and there. I've got an R1 and I've had Z1000s and Kawasaki's and all sorts of toys. I've got an R1 at the moment, but I don't get to take it out, so it sits in the storage shed.
Man, work and entertainment for you is always at the edge, man.
Yeah.
It goes hard.
Yeah, more 50 these days, getting a bit older.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, but nah, it is. That's what it's about. Living on the Mandaway is paradise here.
Well, I guess
get out there, fishing, do everything.
Because what do you do, like in Whiri? I know you're here or at school or
in bed.
Yeah, because I know you don't go out fishing, but go out adventuring, scenic walks.
Try to go. Yeah, now with the studio, it's getting quite busy. So our days are pretty much spending time here.
Yeah,
but like going for walks, like just going to places, hiking, doing
There's
things.
so much to see around here as well.
So much to see. And the swim.
Getting the time to see it. So.
Yes. And the swim for me is a big one. That's why I asked, because for me it feels like New Zealanders are connected. Do
you say swimming?
Swimming? Yeah.
In the ocean?
Oh. Like people.
In summer?
Oh, I went for a swim yesterday. That was good.
Dumb.
Yeah, it was better than I thought. I thought it was.
Unless I'm snorkeling for power and stuff, I don't really like swimming.
Yeah,
especially around summer. You seen the sharks out there?
Yeah, man. And there was a group of people all together, and I was like, oh man, what have they found? What because it's always like that. Say like there's a group, and you're like, oh shit, there's something there.
Yeah. What are they staring at?
Hey,
past the water.
Have you seen some stuff in
yeah. Bronzy, between Whangapā and Matarangi, there's always big bronzies sitting there.
Was it like September, October? They have just quite a bit of sharks at the at the
great
end of the
whites
bar.
have been hanging around. Great whites over in Cairo.
But I mean, it's
But that's your thing. That's
I try to look in this cool. Yeah, but I don't go that deep. I don't know how close
they're not that deep.
Really? Damn. So I think I'm just lucky. Yeah. So maybe it's because what I heard is that like around here, Buffalo Beach, the water is not the best for swim because it's too close to the wharf.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if that's a thing, if that's right. Yeah, it was one of the
friend. But as in sharks and stuff will be attracted to the wharf or something?
No, I think it's just not clear enough. Like it's just
the old seal comes in here now and then, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And the sharks love the seals. I don't know, maybe splashing around the water. Oh, give it a go.
Yeah.
Be a few people watching.
My favorite is Otama Beach. Every time that I can, that one is like
heaps of sharks over there.
Yeah, come on, man.
You're all right.
You're right.
Yeah,
you're
all right.
Yeah, they look chunky enough to eat anyway.
Have you been to Brazil, man? Have you been to South America?
Nah. Is that where you're from, eh?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Peru or Brazil? Just right in Brazil?
Yeah. São Paulo, so it's a big city. Big city in Brazil. There's not much sea around there, man. Yeah. So here is like a treat. Being around here is like, yeah.
What do your family think? Because you've said your family have come out once, is that right? Or not yet?
They're coming next year for the first time.
Do they think you live in like absolute lush because you're near the beach?
No, so that's the thing. Like at first they didn't understand, like they didn't know much about New Zealand, and that's the interesting thing, because we're here, we actually don't know, but a lot of countries around the world, like maybe they've heard about New Zealand, but they don't actually know what's happening there. So they were a bit confused. They're like, "What are you doing?" And then there's a bit of extremes. If you Google New Zealand, you might see white people, Europeans, like with that look, or you might see the crazy Maori, putting the tongue out. They're like, what's happening there? Like, so for them was a bit like, oh, what's going on? But then, once they realized that I was in the Coromandel, beautiful place.
We used to always have like tourist buses come in, the Kiwi experience, and there'd be the whole world that comes through Whiri, So you'd meet all cultures and people, and they're just like, oh, this is like Garden of Eden, like, They got the big wow factors. We could pretty much go around the whole world and not even leave Whirianga back in the day,
That's what I heard.
For the girls as well.
Yeah, that's what I heard when I started working here. One of the owners of the place, she was like, "Oh, most people come to the Coromandel because you get this vibe, this overseas vibe, you know, without leaving the country. You experience something without actually going too far.
Yeah.
Well, that was like last year. We went down to Queenstown, camper van down there with the kids, and that's the first time I've been down the South Island, and I was just like,
was the first time you went to the South?
Yeah, first time ever. And I thought,
So how was that experience? You got a camper van. How was it?
Oh, it was awesome as well. Yeah.
Did you have that in mind from the beginning? It's going to be a camper van.
Yeah. From Auckland all the way down to Queenstown, and then flew back. Yeah, it was cool. Kids had a ball there. I think I probably had a bit more fun, but no, it was pretty well. Yeah.
Did you do like a whole a few places?
Well, because we were just going oh, which way should we go? Yeah, sort of thing. So we just went down to Wellington and then ferried over, and so I said to the missus, to Jamie, I was like, oh, should we go left or right? You know, should we go down the east coast or the west coast? And she was like,
it's exciting though. It's cool.
So I was like, oh, we'll go down the east coast. I was like, sweet. So we shot down the east coast, and and then cut through by Christchurch, cut through to Wanaka, and we got friends in Wanaka and stuff, and stay down there. And yeah, it was cool. I'd love to go down and do the big loop and that, but it was sort of short. I think it was about 12 days or something, a couple of weeks. So it was pretty short. Sort of thing.
What did you feel different? Like, what were the differences between north and of course there are plenty.
The roads are awesome. The roads are awesome down south.
Are they?
Oh,
no
just straight, no potholes. Yeah, everything's straight and just the scene.
Government looking after their roads and not ours.
Yeah. But so we went down there. We went down through winter and that, so all the snow on the hills was just awesome, mate. Everything, the big glaciers and that, and I was just like, "Wow, man, this is cool. This is like Lord of the Rings shit."
Nice. Hundy, how was the Coromandel a few years ago, man?
Oh yeah, it was good.
Quiet. Was it quiet?
Yeah, that's what I mean. It was good. Yeah. Yeah, it definitely has fluctuated, the last years.
Yeah.
Not Coromandel, south, you still blink and you miss it, if you know.
Yeah. Do you feel like
because
I moved down here probably like at COVID time, but before that would have been super quiet because I feel like so many people moved here after I got here.
Yeah, well, I don't know, just people piling all the time. Yeah. There's always extra faces and that going around. Like I see old faces, like there was that big boom over in Australia with all the mining and stuff, so a lot of my old mates and that, they all just shot over to Australia chasing the money sort of thing, and either got stuck over there or come back home sort of thing. But it's sort of like you always get new faces that come into Whitianga and around the peninsula sort of. Yeah.
What about the bars and the nightlife here? Because a lot of people come to me and say, "Oh, it used to be nice a few years ago." Like,
back in the day.
Yeah, was it?
Smitty's used to be a shoebox.
Right, was a different vibe.
Oh yeah. Oh well, that was my teens, so it was mean. Anything in my teens was mean.
Was it a bit more freedom? You reckon nowadays, like less cell phones and less cameras capturing everything.
Sort of just turned up. If you're lucky, if you drive all the way into town, it's like, oh, I hope he's home. Getting home, where's all the boys? Sort of thing. So,
no.
Yeah.
Do you drink, Hundy?
Yeah, I drink. Yeah.
Do you remember how old you were when you had your first drink?
Oh, I think I was about 4.
Not that you order, man. I don't mean that you order one.
Sipping the old stubby bottles behind the couch. How old was I? I was probably about 16, yeah, maybe 15 maybe, because I sort of left school early and worked at Teddy Sills, so I left home and went flatting and stuff when I was 15, so I was like, the big boys.
The big boys.
Can you imagine that now, like a 15-year-old going off?
I cannot imagine my kids drinking.
No, going off and getting a job at 15.
It was different back then, though, than what it is today, like, sort of thing. You like as long as you.
Our babies are definitely more sheltered these days, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Best thing about our babies, though, is like we always know where they are.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, always know where they are.
So it's like, are they at your place? Are they at yours?
Yeah.
Could be a bad thing, though. I don't know.
But like, do you fear that they might have that, like, like curiosity for things, or like you because how old is your oldest one?
14. Yeah.
14. Oh, there you go. So like, how is your relationship when it comes to like having those chats or knowing that maybe there's something happening?
Oh, it sort of shuts off a little. I've tried to have a little chat to them, sort of things like, "Hey, bro," and he's like, "Don't talk to me."
That doesn't help.
Don't touch me. Get out of my room.
Yeah.
My partner Jamie probably has more conversation with him than I can get out of him anyway.
Yeah. It's a tricky age, like to say things.
Yeah.
For us, because we lived, and then it's hard to explain the experience, but like when you look at the teenagers, you kind of like, you're like, oh yeah, that was.
I see some bits that's like, I remember that age.
Yeah.
This is how I should approach it, but like it's totally different.
No, because I feel like they know more now, but you don't want to know how much more they know.
Yeah, I think
so
I
you
knew
just
more.
go, I don't know. I hope I know more. I hope I knew more than what our kids know at 10.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, try and be open with them, Like,
Yeah.
The younger three, they're just, you let open airs. It's sort of Phoenix. The oldest one's a bit.
Yeah.
Don't talk to me.
Don't
Dad.
talk to me.
Get out of my room.
Yeah.
Shut my door on your way out. Just want a cuddle.
Yeah.
It's just about a big fight where they try to get a cuddle out of them.
Yeah.
Do they all have cell phones?
No, just the oldest one has cell phones.
Just the oldest one.
They got switches and all the little game things and that.
Yeah.
But the oldest
Online
ones
gamers.
Yeah.
Online gamers.
And there's always a rule when he goes to bed, cell phone's got to stay in the lounge. Because he goes to Mercury Bay now, and all the other three boys go to Aotearoa, so it's sort of like it's good for him to sort of keep in contact if anything happens.
Yeah.
What is it like having, because I know you're at the school, what's it like having kids distracted with phones? Because obviously when we were in high school, like 3 people had cell phones.
Well, I cannot speak like as a teacher who runs a full class because I teach music.
Yeah.
So I get like 2, 3, 4 students max at a time. And they're drumming, like, so
They don't have a
there's
spare
no,
hand.
but like sometimes it happens, like an alarm or something, or they check something. So like we have this system, like a traffic light system, like that you can tell them, red, like don't touch the phone, or like, yellow, when I say
Felix doesn't tell me that.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Like some teachers adopt it, some teachers don't. It depends on the subject, depends on what the class is all about. But like they give this opportunity to, tell the kids how they should or not during the class. But the way that I see it is like, I think it's impossible to stop it. You just have to try things and see which one is going to be the best approach, because how recent is this? Like, it's the first generation that actually
we never had them in school.
like so how are you going to say do this or do that? Like, we don't know.
Right.
I think
I was probably pretty lucky that I was in the age of the phones coming up, that I sort of had, I had the first picture phone and all that sort of stuff. So I sort of kept up with that sort of thing, and that sort of helps me a little bit with the kids. So I sort of know what's going on the phones and the gaming and all that sort of stuff. So it's sort of like,
and you game too as well, so at least you got, you know how to use it. Yeah, when you get time to game.
Me, Dad, you haven't played for months. I was like, get home and time to get home and get everything done.
What do you play, Hundy?
Fortnite.
Fortnite.
And what's the other one they play?
Minecraft?
Apex.
I don't even know what that one is.
Yeah, it's like Fortnite sort of thing, but a little bit different.
Yeah.
No building, more fighting.
Did you grow up with video games?
Yeah, I had a Game Boy and a PlayStation growing up, sort of thing.
Which one were your favorites?
John Lumley Rugby, and Crash Bandicoot and all that, and PlayStation.
Yeah.
We had Super Mario's and Game Boys, and all the PlayStation sort of growing up.
Yeah.
It's still gaming, but do you see big differences from the time that we used to play video games for now?
When you look at them now, they're different, But when I was younger, I was like, I'm sure the graphics are way better on these guys.
Yeah.
And it's like, you look at
and
it,
if you go and play it now, you're like, oh, that was shit. Yeah.
I remember playing, I played one of the kids' wrestling games the other day, just on the phone, but it was like the same wrestling game as what we had on the PlayStation. I was like, the cardboard cutout looking things, but back in the day, look like, oh, look, he was smiling and he winked at you. All the facials look real, back these days it's like,
and now they sit next to you. God damn it, what are you doing?
Well, these days it looks more like Minecraft. Everything's boxed out, like that.
Boxed and pixelated.
That's right.
It's not the right game.
I always feel like, because I played Doom when I was younger, I always thought if I was to play Doom again, it's just going to be pixels,
Yeah.
It was pixels. Yeah.
Was it all good to play Doom in New Zealand?
Must have been. I played it on computer.
Yeah, I played on computer too. Yeah. Oh no, I played it once on PlayStation. I think I hired it out at Video Easy or something.
$8 a night or whatever it was.
$7 for 2 nights.
Yeah.
Because I think there was something, Taylor, about Doom that it was not.
It was just in Brazil for a while. It was 18 plus.
It was always 18 plus for us too.
Most games here were 18 plus, but
yeah, who cares?
like Grand Theft Auto, playing Grand Theft Auto at like 12. The first one that was the bird's eye view.
That was the first Grand Theft Auto. Yeah. Wow. You used to run over people and make blood marks over the cars.
That's a debate that they will never get old, like because a lot of people will give shit to video games, but at the same time, most of us grew up with that, you know, and
it's just the older ones, like the grandparents and that. So like, what's this?
The ones who had none. The grandparents that had nothing.
Back in the day when they only had Channel 1.
And I haven't played Fortnite, but I hear people saying, "Oh, Fortnite not good, shouldn't happen," and I'm like, I'm sure we were playing dodgy stuff when we were young as well, you know. Like,
I don't even feel like Fortnite's okay. Yes, it is a killing game, but most of the kids are just in it for the skin. So, I mean, there's like a Spider-Man skin or a Doctor Strange skin, and that's what they care about.
For them to catch up with their mates as well. Yeah. Because you're talking to your mates and not hanging out, and then you got something to talk about when you're at school. You didn't build that fort properly, or remember when you got shot.
Right.
And that's the same
Revive
thing.
me.
A lot of my mates are overseas, like some of my real good mates are overseas and that, and it's like, oh, well, let's have a jam of Fortnite. We'll just be talking shit all day anyway. All night anyway, and have a few beers and a couple of drinks and a few forestry mates down the line that's, you know, sort of I'll jam with and have a catch up with them, and we talk about work and stuff like that while we're shooting bad people. So it's sort of just having that. It's a lot easier to talk, like you said, on the mics and that when you're playing video games than it is to pick your phone up and have a yarn with the boys, you know. So you sort of cut it short when you're on the phone, but when you're video gaming, you can just have a yarn for hours.
That's right.
You know,
Oh man, for me, like, it was Mortal Kombat. You remember that?
I love Mortal Kombat.
That was like, man, chopping head off. And then,
like, still, have you played Mortal Kombat X? The newest one? Because the fatalities on that are extreme.
Fatality.
That's right.
Friendshipality.
That they would play. They would make fun of each other.
Fatality when they turn them into a baby. Killer Instinct and all that. I played all that. Tekken back in the day.
Tekken,
Used to do all the arcades,
50 cent games or whatever it was.
50s, might as well 20s.
Oh.
Did it go up? No, 50.
Yeah, probably. Probably went up once the coins got smaller.
Yeah.
So would you guys go to these places where like all the arcades were lined up, or it was like one there?
No, it was like
and
fish and chip shop
there?
waiting for your hot chips. You're like, I got 20 cents.
Right.
Yeah. I just go down early in the morning at Aotearoa shops in Whangarei, and it'll be like, they had a video store, but outside the video store was all these games. You know, sit there and just play games all morning. Mum would come down and goes, "You need to do the dishes, get back up." And like, where's all the coins in my purse gone?
And like, I don't know if we forget, but we just like, it's so automatic that we are the generation that is going through all these super fast changes, you know. Like I was listening to this neuroscientist talking on a cool show yesterday, and he was saying there are so many people depressed and with anxiety nowadays because there's this instant gratification that is so high at the moment, you know, like everything is made to trigger you, like to make you and then the moment that you don't have that, I'm bored.
Well, like, that's the thing.
Everyone is bored, but it's because everything that you get puts you up there. And then the guy was saying, like, you have a million options on Netflix, and it looks like none of them suit. But then if you remember, like not that long ago, we would go to the video shop
and then hire up
and wait for the
tapes and
different vibe. Sometimes the motherfucker who watched it last didn't rewind, I think so you would have
been sort of the same sort of vibe to some people, but a little bit different. You know what I mean? Like a lot of I'll say to the kids, you know, they can. You know, through winter and then it's wet and it's horrible. It's all right to game and do all that sort of stuff. But summer, it's like, come on, guys, get out there. And as soon as they're out there, they're doing stuff. You know what I mean? It's like that's what I like about the sports and going in to play league and that, because they're getting their mind out of that wanting to play the game every day and get out there and do some activities and. You know, all their mates that have been playing with online, playing out there on the field. Sort of thing, so.
But you're active. You like to be out there. You know, because there's a lot of... I'm not giving shit to parents who work with computers, but a lot of parents, they don't realize that they are the example. If they're sitting there all the time and then they're on the phone, you know, the kids
and
watching.
And we're pretty lucky because we've got this luxury of living in the Coromandel, you know. You think about families that are in the middle of Auckland and all that sort of stuff and that. that's all they sort of got to lean on, really, is sort of, where's the baby? Sort of, hang on, I'll turn it on, sort of thing, and let me do what, But these ones here, we sort of got the options to be like, come on, kids, it's fine outside. The beach is only like 3 steps away.
Yes,
get your surfboards, get out there and go for a surf,
Because our body responds to that.
Yeah.
The body's like, oh, that's what I need. Yeah. That's what we should be doing.
We can tell they're like, especially my kids, when they start fighting with each other and he did this, and it's like, all right, game's off, get out, get some fresh air, because he's starting to bicker at each other, sort of thing. Yes. So it's sort of like, that's sort of that time to
did you used to get into fights with your brothers? Like, did you guys
no, we didn't, because there was a big age gap between my other brother, my older sibling. It was like 7 years, so it's sort of, they fought. My younger, my two youngest, there's the big punch ups and that, and I was sort of drinking and going to work and that, so I was a bit of a laugh, sort of thing. But I didn't really, I didn't really get into the fights with my siblings.
That's good. What about you, Christine? Would you get into fights with
a physical fight with?
Yeah, or like school, or like with friends.
I'm one of 4 sisters. Of course, we fought and we had weapons.
Was grabbing hair allowed?
It's a free for all. My mum used to just let us go.
Yeah.
Like, she's just like, do it.
Yeah, Jamie stops a few of the boys scrapping.
Yeah.
My boys can scrap pretty hard.
Wow. What about you? You?
I was a dick to my sister, Oh. I feel so bad. I apologize so many times.
Yeah.
Because it was a bit of a dick.
Would you punch her, like hit her?
Like, not punching, but like, I was a big kid, and I would take advantage of my size. It was not.
But she's close now, though, eh?
Oh, and the distance made us way closer.
Yeah,
that's an interesting thing, with humans, like.
I feel like that's right, because I used to give. So my littlest sister, it's always the baby that you'd get in more trouble for beating up. So if we did hit her, we made sure it was really good, because you're going to get in trouble anyway, so you hit her really good. But I feel like, and
Don't
she's
do shit
moved away.
half-assed.
No, if you're going to get in trouble, you might as well do it good.
Yeah.
So now that she's in Aussie, I feel like she's one that we're super close with, even though we give her hidings all her life.
Yeah.
Right.
It was love.
Yeah.
It was
Tough love.
Yeah.
What about
hit you with love?
What about mom and dad? Would they give you guys a hard time? Because my mom,
my mum,
damn, man.
Like did mum and dad give us hidings?
If it would hit you guys,
My dad never ever did. My dad never gave us hidings.
And I still remember that first, the only one he gave me.
I've been, that was it. Mine wasn't even that bad. I just got like hit on the arm for arguing with my sister while we were supposed to be eating. But I remember being like shook to my core because my dad's never hit me before.
Yeah, that's
but my mum, yeah, mum. But she's got like that death stare that you were like.
Yeah, my mum had that.
Too scared to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
What about you, man?
Yeah, I got one hiding from my dad. I remember it too. Because we were at Waikowal, and we're like, he's like, don't touch my duck whistle. I used to love the duck whistle. So anyway, I went and fed the pigs, and I was there with my cousin. I had the duck whistle around my neck because he was out working, and then I went down, tipped the scrap bucket over the fence, and the duck whistle fell off into the scrap bucket, and the pig chomped it up. And the old man come back, where's my duck whistle? I'm like,
don't know.
He went to get it out of the paddock. It was in pieces, and then all I remember just whack straight aside. I was just my whole face like, he just hit me.
Yeah.
My dad's never hit me. It was the only time he did hit me too. Wow. I still remember it from this day.
Don't forget, But
mum, she's whack me all the
time. Hey, that's crazy.
I needed it.
I know. I think my sister's older than me, got more whacks, and I think I remember there's one that scared me straight, like wooden spoon,
jug cord, back of the axe.
I feel like because
anything they could grab,
because you saw it happen to them, you're like, fuck that. I'ma listen. Yeah.
Yow. Ooh. Because there's a thing nowadays, right? No, don't
smack your kids.
Don't smack your kids. It gets it gets to that line.
There's a smack and there's a smack.
There's a smack in there. So I would say a hiding, but it would you don't give your kids a hiding. You just call it a hiding.
It was what you said at school. You know, I got a hiding, And it was
a smack. Yeah. But then I feel like now you can see the difference in kids that get smacks and see kids that don't get smacks.
Yeah.
Or discipline.
Yeah.
Discipline is a great word. I think you put it down. Right.
It's probably more in the word and like you said, the look. Like, you know, like all my boys are polite. You know, like, you know, I haven't really had to smack them as they've gotten older. But when they were younger, I sort of made it good quick little whack on the bum, and then why you got the whack and the eye thing. And
now all you need is the eye thing.
Just the eye thing. Yeah. And they still remember that little whack.
Yeah.
It wasn't a big whack, but it was a whack. It was the words that come out of my mouth.
When they tell their story in 10 years' time, I'll be like, Dad whacked me.
They'll be here saying that.
And then a couple of times, you just have to repeat yourself twice, and that big look, and then they're like, ooh.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
Do you feel like sometimes do you look at yourself and you think like, God damn, I sound like my father? Does it happen, Andy?
Oh, of course. I think we all do, don't we?
I do.
Mother.
I hear my mum come out of me sometimes when I growl the kids.
Yeah.
Because it's always stupid things like, I know you shouldn't like swear at your kids, but I'm always like, oh, for fuck's sakes. Yeah. And I'm like, that's my mum.
Yeah.
That's mum.
Mine's the last push, when that's when the swear word come out,
Yeah.
And then my partner Jamie, she'd be like, don't you swear? She just told me to tell them off.
Yeah.
You just told me to tell them.
And a swear word slipped out.
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah.
And then they become the cool ones, the grandparents, right? Hey, and then he flips.
Yeah.
The coolest ones ever.
All of a sudden they've got McDonald's money. All of a sudden they've got lollies, everything. Back
chocolate mousse.
Yeah. Chocolate mousse. Homemade chocolate mousse. Yeah.
What are the treats, Andy, at home that the boys are always after, man?
Oh, the treats? Oh, they've pretty much got everything.
Whatever they can get their hands on.
Yeah, they're spoiled.
Yeah.
What's the treats? Game time, I suppose. It's sort of like time. Yeah. It's like a bit extra time on the game, sort of things. A treat, yeah. Or just because our rule was like after dinner, that's it.
Yeah.
No games, no gaming. But if they're good, they might be able to get it half an hour.
Little bit. Yeah, nice.
And that was pretty much all anything to do with like phones or iPods and all that sort of stuff, or catch up with their mates.
Yeah.
What about you, Christine? How does it work at home? The rewards or the treats?
I feel like most afternoons after school we've got either an extra kid or one of our kids are gone like to your place or someone else's house, and I feel like that's their reward. And then they come home, have dinner. Like our kids contribute a lot to the household as well, so they're doing dishes, they
chores,
bring washing in from the clothesline, they put washing on in the washing machine. So I don't know, I feel like we balance it out well with game time, because game time is like after everything's been done.
Yeah. Then
so like you've eaten dinner, dishwasher's packed up, homework's done, you've had a shower, it's 6:30, you have half an hour to have a game. Yeah. So I feel like it's a reward after all the jobs are done.
All the hard work.
Yeah, and then on the weekends it's like polar opposite, They're like up till midnight, you're like whatever.
It's their weekend.
Yeah, let them have a weekend, because
Sunday over though, back to normal.
Yeah, back to normal. Yeah.
Yeah, kick the week off.
Oh, cool. You guys sound cool, man.
Yeah, it's
you guys sound cool parents.
That is,
yeah.
Yeah.
Look where we live. Is it
a
luxury for the kids?
Yeah. Is it a thing like with the internet in Matarangi that doesn't work very well because there's so many kids there, man? You guys don't have other entertainment? Do you guys make kids? We
always hear a moan. Always hear a moan of a lag, especially off Phoenix. Yes, get off the game, one slag.
No, but what I mean is like for the parents,
because
you guys do kids, man. That's the thing. You guys have all big families.
I think
they go to bed. Adults times when they're in bed. Sometimes I don't go to sleep till about 12 o'clock. Sort of.
Just to jam the game.
Yeah, or just watch Netflix or something. Just sort of have your me time sort of thing.
Yeah.
Nice. Good. Hanji, keep us updated on the rugby in the area, man. What's happening? What should we pay attention, man?
Oh well, the Swamp Foxes are playing at the moment. We've got a few of the Bay boys in there, so it's always good to watch.
What is it?
Swamp Foxes.
Is it a team?
Valley rugby team. Yeah. So it's like the reps sort of team, the best of all the club rugby all get together and play there. So we've just started our league season. So we missed the game. I missed my first game on Saturday because we went down to Aotearoa, but they beat the Marcos. And we got a home game this Saturday. at 2 o'clock at the sports field out there. So that'll be my first game for them. But hopefully it's another dub because the boys took it out last week. I think we got probably about 6 teams in this competition for league this year. So it's probably the biggest sort of competition where we've had most teams in it, and they're all going from say it right, or Hortiti. One team's from there, and the other one is from down the line as well. But they also we got Paeroa, and then we got Coromandel and us, and so it's sort of like in Aotearoa. They've got a team as well, so it's sort of like, a little bit more, and hopefully they'll spread it out for when the kids start playing next year, and we get a few more teams on for the kids as well, because we only got a handful of teams for league, because like I said, league's not really that big around here, but we're trying to make it a little bit bigger. Nice. Most of the thing is the travelling. It's quite a way to travel for everyone to sort of have a game. So it's, but the kids love it.
Are we looking for a sponsor for a van?
Yeah,
maybe.
Well,
maybe.
Put it out there, Hansi. Put it out there.
Next year's season, sponsor for a van. I'm going to try to get my babies playing.
King Joe and Nikki will love that.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe get King Joe on the show.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Set up sponsors for a van.
Who is King John?
King Joe.
King Joe.
So that's my partner's uncle, and he runs the balls as well. Him and Nikki Tane. Yeah.
So they're the top notches for the babies rugby league stuff around here,
and the seniors as well. So they sort of started the league back in the day in Whiringa, so they sort of
cool.
Yeah, they'd probably be good to have on the show here too. Have a chat to the way things are going.
See if we can get that van, eh?
So we can get a van for these babies.
Yes,
to get
that'd
places.
be nice. Yeah, bit of travelling. Yeah, we have used the old Mercury Bay Rugby van before, and they've allowed us to do that, which is good.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're looking forward to it. It's going to be a good season this year. It's a bit of a big season, but. Boys all hissing. So
did you get the tattoo as well after the championship?
Oh no, so I play for the Bs.
You play for the
Too old for the A's. Nah, it's just the A.
But you were there, weren't you? Were you there when you got the tattoo?
When they all got the tattoos, I didn't turn up to the changing room and put some tattoos. Kids to look after.
Having a drink, man. You had more things to do.
They got lost in there for 3 days, so probably wouldn't have had a missus if I got out of there. Nah, good on the boys, eh? Like, it was made for them to take it. Oh, yeah, hats go off. But I just play for the Bs. I've talked about go double for the A's, but it's too hard. You got to be committed if you're playing for the A's, and it's sort of like it's hard for us with kids and stuff like that to sort of commit yourself 100% to doing that sort of stuff. Plus, I'm old.
You got the stories, man. That's for sure.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Man, good luck with this season, bro, and thanks for coming, sharing the stories, and telling us a little bit about this world that I had no clue, actually, the thing with the forestry and everything. So that was a good insight on the thing.
I've heard a couple of stories, but not those ones.
I've got plenty of stories about it, but just for another day.
We'll bring more people. We'll get more whiskey next time, and then we'll go for more stories.
Maybe off here, eh?
Off here.
There you go, the midnight show.
Yeah.
Thanks, Hansi. Appreciate it, man.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you, Christine.
Cool. Thank you for having me too.
Thank you very much. I think I'll see you next Monday.
Yes, you will. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Looking forward to it. Thank you, much.
Some good shows this week coming.
Yeah, we got Graham Morecambe on Wednesday, and he is the senior pastor of the C3 Church. Yep. So we're gonna ask some questions. We're curious to see what happens there.
And it's a local church, eh?
Yeah. It's a local church. And then on Friday we have Bella Bevan. She's the lead singer. Yeah, she's the lead singer of a cool band in Auckland, Coast Arcade. Young fellas, they're doing great opening.
You sung with her? Yeah.
I haven't yet, but let's see now.
Could be on the table.
Man. Yeah. And they're opening for some cool acts in Auckland, so we're trying to push, upcoming artists and bringing.
Watch that,
yeah, man, would be a cool one. We had a great one last Friday with HUNDY Aotearoa. He was one of the former members of Catch a Fire.
Oh yeah, man.
That was an inspiring chat. Cool. Yeah, so we know that it's we're gonna get there. It's just time.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But the one that you're back on Monday is with. Steph from she runs the Soul Good
Kitchen's wife.
Yeah. So that one's gonna be surfer. So that one will be a cool one. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, be good.
Thank you so much, guys. And we're live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 p.m. Go to our YouTube channel, subscribe, and peace.
Bye.